So Alex Schemanske got top 32 with his Lugia deck at NAIC, and he was definitely playing it different than anyone else was. As you can notice from the list, there is no Cinccino's, and we are far more focused on Iron Hands with the two Iron Hands in here, the double Lightning Energy, and the Thorton. So in theory, you could Iron Hands 3 times. That's probably almost never going to happen, but you could. Lugia VSTAR, of course, does 220 for 4 colorless. We can discard a Stadium. And it's just a solid attack. And it has the Summoning Star ability that lets us grab 2 colorless non-rule box Pokemon from our discard pile and put them onto our bench. So we have Archeops that we're trying to get into play. It's the only Pokemon here that we can get into play with the VSTAR power. Its ability lets us search our deck for up to 2 special energy cards and attach them to one of our Pokemon. So we can attach 4 special energy cards every turn with our 2 Archeops abilities. It's just an insane ability. It's broken. And of course, Iron Hands is going to be one of the attackers that we use to power this up. We can grab the Legacy Energy. That is a rainbow energy, so it's every type of energy. And when your opponent knocks this Pokemon out, they take 1 less prize card. I don't know how often the effect of 1 less prize is going to happen, because almost every deck seems to be playing a Sinnoh and an Enhanced Hammer, or at least one of them. 2 Lumineon in here to find our supporters. This deck can be very bricky. Bloodmoon Ursaluna, the ability says it costs 1 less colorless energy for each prize our opponent's taken. For 5 colorless, it does 240, so we can attack for free when our opponent's at 1 prize. We have Iron Bundle. It just combos really nicely with Iron Hands. It's on our bench. We can switch out our opponent's active. They choose, and we discard the bundle. Drapion, of course, like I said, for Gardevoir. For colorless, it does 190 and 60 to one of our bench Pokemon. So the 60 of the bench kind of sucks, but it's no big deal. And we have Wyrdeer V that has the ability that it can grab up as many energy as we want when it switches to the active, and it does 40 plus 40 for each energy card attached to it. It's kind of a weird supporter line. Got 3 boss, because after we get our Archeops, really all we want is boss's orders and ways to find our basic Pokemon. But the deck is pretty self-sustaining, and we're going to be drawing with Gift Energy, so supporters become far less important after we get rolling with our double Archeops and such. Gift, of course, says when this Pokemon's knocked out, you can draw up to 7 cards, and you do draw before promoting your Pokemon, so you draw to 7, promote your Pokemon, and then draw for turn, so you start your hand with 8 cards. It's pretty good. We have Research. Carmine in here is a supporter you can play on the first turn, so you know, your hand's like double Archeops, Lumineon, you can just grab Carmine, get him in the discard pile, not risk getting Iono'd. We do have a Serena in here, not a very good supporter overall anymore, but it is a way to discard Archeops and bench some certain V Pokemon, or gust some certain V Pokemon. It of course says discard up to 3 cards from your hand, draw TF5, and then we can gust up a V Pokemon. It's a secondary effect. Jacq lets us grab 2 evolution Pokemon, which can definitely be pretty handy. Thorton, like I said, can switch a Pokemon into the Iron Hands, or it can also switch into a Lugia V if our Lugia V gets knocked out and it's our only one to play. But yeah, the rest of the deck's just ball cards and such, so let's get into the games. So this first game, we do start our Iron Hands with, I don't know, kind of a mediocre hand. It's a really good hand if we flip heads on the Capturing Aroma, but who knows if that's going to happen, because it never seems to work out the way that you want it to. And Serena is a very mediocre supporter, but it's at least a way to discard at least 1 Archeops, so we'll take it. So I can attach the gift. I think I have to bench the Bloodmoon Ursaluna, because I do believe that it might come up in this matchup if I have to like hit into a Dragapult with maybe my Lugia or one of my Archeops, and then finish it off with Bloodmoon. Like I would use the Archeops if I wanted to switch it to like odd prizes, which could definitely come in handy. I'm really unsure. I don't play the most Lugia. I don't like the deck that much. Like, it's a really powerful deck. I just don't like it. Like, I don't know. Overall, it seems really high rolly, but a lot like good players do good with it. So maybe I'm probably wrong. But I'm just debating here, benching the Bloodmoon, and I think I am going to do it. Better safe than sorry kind of thing. And I draw a terrible hand. I don't really know what to do here. I'm probably just going to play the Capturing Aroma just to see what I get. Maybe thin out my deck by a card. so I can grab Lumineon. I don't want to bench the other Lugia. I don't think I'm going to be getting attacked for a knockout on my Lugia this turn, so I just kind of risk it. And I want to play down that Lumineon and hopefully get double Archeops next turn. I can attach the Legacy Energy, bench Lumineon for research, and hope to find like Archeops Ultra Ball or something. This deck is very reliant on Lumineon. It's one of the only, I think one of the only decks since Lumineon came out that's like that. Like a lot of, when Tapu Lele was a card, it was very common for decks to just like completely rely on Tapu Lele. They're probably still built more consistently than decks now, but you didn't mind putting a couple Leles in play for the early like half of Lele. By the end of it, it did become a pretty big liability. But they passed the turn. We top deck another double turbo energy. Now I don't know if I can research. Running out of energy is like a little easier than you would think with this deck. Maybe with the Cinccino's it's not so hard, but I'm going to need a ton of energy to knock out a Dragapult with a Wyrdeer. I think it is like 7? Yeah, like 7 energy. And if they're double turbos, it gets a little weird. But 7 regular energies should do the trick, I think. Yeah, 280 and then 320. So I Iono into a hand that can definitely get double Archeops out, but I have to sacrifice the entire hand, which is kind of worth it because I'll have a gift on my active, and if they do knock it out, I'll draw back up to 7, and I can also just grab a Lumineon with this Ultra Ball, so if they knock something out, I can just throw that Lumineon down and grab the supporter card that I want. But I don't know, Lugia doesn't really like need draw supporters at a certain point. All I really want is boss's orders anyway. I want a boss probably next turn, and then find a Wyrdeer and hopefully win the game within 2 turns after this turn. That is the plan. So in hindsight, I didn't really need the Bloodmoon Ursaluna like I thought I would. In my head, I thought I was going to need it, but I think this match is going to end up going a lot faster if I have to put 2 Lumineon in play, because that's just 4 free prizes basically. And it makes it a lot easier. One thing to note too is this deck also only plays 2 Mist Energy, which if Dragapult gains more popularity, you're probably going to want more Mist Energy than just 2. I would have loved to put a Mist Energy onto my Iron Hands, but I didn't. I figured I should save it and put the Mist on whatever they start putting damage counters on. That's kind of my thought. And yeah, they put 3 on the Iron Hands. That makes sense. They put 3 on the Lugia. So the Lugia is probably where the Mist Energy is going to go, because they're probably going to want to put 5 more damage on that and knock that out. I do bench the Lumineon anyway, so it really doesn't matter. They have a boss target, but I might as well throw an energy onto the Lugia. Maybe I should have thrown 2 on there, but I'm always kind of nervous with running out of energy. I throw the gift onto the Lumineon because that's the most obvious target that they're going to gust. I don't want to put a gift on each of my Archeops, and if I put a gift on one of them, they'll just boss the other one. But at this point, I do just assume they're going for a 2-2-2 prize trade, which makes sense. I also put a Jet Energy into play just to get an extra energy in play for Wyrdeer. I think that I need this amount of energies to be able to retreat an energy off of my Lumineon and still have enough to get the knockout. I do hit Great Ball off prizes, so there's at least a chance that I hit the Wyrdeer off it and just win the game next turn. Temple Sinnoh, very annoying. You know, you always hope that the Legacy Energy will stick and make them take 1 more prize. So they put the 6 onto my Bloodmoon. Maybe they just think that that's what I was planning on attacking with, but now I just can't attack with it, so what can you do? And I promote the Lumineon. I was debating promoting the Lugia, but I figure I've kind of committed in my head to retreat this energy off anyway. And I do flip a tails, so I can just grab Wyrdeer. Wyrdeer math is so weird. Oh, that's funny. That didn't mean to like kind of say the same word that's in the name, but it is. It's a little strange, and I'm not used to doing 40s, so it takes me a minute. And my plan now is to just pile on all the energy and do all the damage. But like I said, I should only need 7 altogether because the Sinnoh's in play, so that would be 2, 4, 6. Yeah, that should be enough. All right, and they just concede because they know they're getting knocked out. So on to the next game. So this game, as you can see, we are up against Snorlax, which makes me glad that I put the Lugia in play first because they picked second and I was worried it was going to be Raging Bolt, so I thought about putting the Drapion into play. But the Lugia did end up being what I put in the active. They Eerie me, which is awesome because I have 0 item cards in my hand. That makes me pretty happy. But they are able to switch into a Mimikyu. That's kind of annoying. But since it is Black Snorlax, I can just take this game kind of slow. I could read the wind here, but I think I'm just gonna research and try and get double Archeops and start putting the pressure on. If not, hopefully I flip heads and I can read the wind away my second Archeops, and I do. So I'm just gonna do that and try to start attacking next turn. I can retreat off a double turbo into an Archeops. They Eerie again. They hit an Ultra Ball, which is fine. I really don't need anything off that Ultra Ball. They put the Rotom in play. That makes me wish that I didn't have 2 double turbos on this Lugia, because now I can't knock out that Rotom, and knocking out Rotom really kind of cripples Lugia's ability to do anything, or not Lugia's, Snorlax's ability to do anything. But I will just have to settle for knocking out this Mimikyu. I'm trying to figure out which energy are best to put in play. I almost put the Jet in play because that's what you put in play first a lot of the time. But the Jets are the most important energy in this matchup, so I will not be putting those in play. I'm just reading the Mist and seeing if it lets me retreat out of Snorlax, but it doesn't. So I just attach the gifts since I don't really need those and retreat off a double turbo. So next turn I can knock out that Rotom as long as it doesn't get a Bravery Charm. And another important thing is to hold your stadiums in this matchup because Snorlax decks are playing a fair amount of Temple of Sinnohs right now. And you only want to put down your stadiums when you're bumping a Temple and taking a knockout. But I have a pretty perfect board right now for this matchup. This is kind of what I think you want to go for. And once I top deck another basic Pokemon, I probably will just Ultra Ball both of them away to get them out of my hand and not be at risk of Ericas, even though a lot of Ericas are not, or a lot of Snorlaxes I noticed cut the Ericas. But I do end up top decking a Bloodmoon, and so I Ultra Ball that and my Lugia away, and I don't think I'm going to grab anything because I don't want a basic in my hand, and I want to keep all the evolution Pokemon in my deck so it's less likely that they hit one off of those stupid flute card. But now I can just attach 1 energy to my Lugia and boss up the Rotom and knock it out and remove the stadium so that they can't grab like another Mimikyu or something annoying like that. And now I'm looking pretty good. I get Iron Hands. I'm kind of really hoping that they don't have an Ericas this turn, but them counter catching is a pretty good sign that they don't. So they just instant charge with another Sinnoh, and I top deck Jamming Tower, which I think is absolutely hilarious. I really don't like playing against Snorlax. It's very annoying. I just think people play it online because they know a lot of their opponents are going to concede. So it feels kind of good finally playing a deck that has a really good matchup into Snorlax. And I don't know about anyone else. I enjoy watching Snorlax lose, so I figured other people might. I don't know. It's a fine deck, but it's really annoying to play against. Like, your goal is kind of just not to play Pokemon, which is interesting. Yeah, I don't know. But that was Lugia. It's probably still in a really good spot right now. I think that this is probably the better version of it without this extra stage 1 Pokemons that make the deck slightly more clunky. This seems a little more consistent, and you're really kind of leaning onto the power of Iron Hands, which is a really strong card right now. And Wyrdeer also comes in clutch. But hope you guys enjoyed and take care.